Yesterday, Ukrainian forces eliminated the commander of the 8th Army, Lieutenant General Andrey Mordvichev. He was in his command post and the command post was airstriked. He is the highest K.I.A. in the entire war. What makes this attack weird? A few days ago, Ukrainian forces destroyed 7+ helicopters from Kherson airport using artillery strikes. Ukrainian forces have these coordinates set ready because for some reason, Russians seem to just move units to the very same location as soon as the previous units are bombarded. 2 times Ukrainians have bombarded Russian helicopters on the ground in the Kherson airport at the very same location. And for some reason, after the second attack, they decided to move the Lieutenant General's command post in that area. Oh, the logic. But that is not it with this location. Some 12 hours later, after the elimination of the general and his command post, Russians moved some more units to the very same coordinates. The spokesperson for Zelensky said that he couldn't believe the reports if they came up. He thought it has to be some kind of a mistake. And he made a joke that Russians are trying to demilitarize their whole army as fast as possible, feeding their units onto the same coordinates Ukrainian artillery is bombarding. My friends, these videos are possible thanks to Patreons. I want to thank these 5 new Patreons for supporting the channel. I'll say them as an Estonian, your ears will bleed. K.I.A Vilfer, Kraison Kristie, Oana Bujor, Rafael Barbosa, Wool swap tractor for tank. I love the last one. Thank you for supporting the channel, and if you like these videos, then the Patreon link is in the description below. If you become a tier 10 or above, I'll be reading your name. Thank you. From Kherson to the west is a city called Zaporozhye. Russians have been trying to take that city and then take Dnipro. Why are these 2 cities important? Well, Russian battle plans state that they want to cut off the Donbas defensive line. If they would occupy Zaporozhye and Dnipro and then link up with the forces from the north, they would cut off a huge portion of Ukrainian eastern defenses. But they have not been able to take Zaporozhye because Ukrainians counterattacked yesterday from the Zaporozhye line and beat the Russians back. Ukraine declared mobilization, and most of these troops, up to 200,000 of these, are still going through training. But as for now, these small counterattack by special forces do enough to stop Russians' advance. But even more east and a little bit south from Zaporozhye is Mariupol, a city fully surrounded and actually now breached. Russians have launched an attack into the city, and right now street fighting is going on. If you have been following my channel, you know about my story that my grandfather was deported to Siberia by the Soviets. It was one of the terror methods of Stalin. Putin has decided to learn from Stalin, unfortunately, because Russian forces are deporting Mariupol citizens. You can see that Russian forces have penetrated into some blocks of Mariupol, and it is reported that citizens are forcefully removed from homes and deported all over Russia. We can only assume that this is done to dilute the Ukrainian population of that city. If the war is over and if it would be won by Russia, we have seen what happens. They would import Russians into Mariupol. This is the playbook of the Soviet Union. We have deportations by Russia in 21st century. The biggest Russian attack has happened in the east. In this video you can see Ukrainian forces eliminate at least 6 Russian soldiers with their infantry fighting vehicles near Rubizhne. The city of Kremina and Rubizhne are targeted by Russians still trying to take these cities. They have not been able to yet. And in Rubizhne we actually see people evacuating from the city. We talked about deportations, but this is not where Russia's war crimes end. In most recent Russian war crimes in the city Kremina in the east, Russian tanks shot up an elderly care home. 56 were killed. This is an eastern city, Izium. Russians have been trying to surround that city and take it. They have been beaten back strong. They sent a whole battalion tactical group into that city. Ukrainian forces in that city rendered that battalion tactical group unfit for battle. That means that at least 30+% losses for the Russians. From the papers of the dead Russians from that battalion tactical group, the entire officer corps of that unit were cadets from the Russian military academy. They have not completed their training or school, and they were sent to the front to take Izium, and now they're probably sent to hell by Ukrainians. In most of the cities that Russia has occupied, Kherson, Kakhovka, Energodar, most of them in the south, Ukrainians are actively protesting against Russian occupation. You have Russian army in the city and you have Ukrainian civilians protesting, marching through the city to show Russian forces every day that they are not welcome. This has a huge psychological effect on the occupiers. If you see the entire city hate you, protest against you, you don't feel safe. And also it shows us the bravery of Ukrainian civilians. They don't have weapons, but they're standing up to the whole army. Let's zoom out a bit and let's go to Moscow. Putin wanted to celebrate the 8th year anniversary of the occupation of Crimea. Yes, he wants to celebrate such an event, and he did. In Moscow, some 200,000 people were gathered at the stadium and Putin made a speech. But there was a big oopsie during that speech because it was cut off by the TV. Mid-sentence. Heads are going to be rolling for this if we go from Russia to the EU. From the very beginning of the occupation of Ukraine, EU has paid Russia 16 billion euros for oil and for gas. Yes, EU is still buying Russian oil, Russian gas. EU is collectively working to reduce the dependence on Russian oil and gas, but it takes too long. Russia is getting hundreds of millions daily, unfortunately. Let's go to the very northern front, the capital, Kiev. From northwest of Kiev there is Irpin, and an Irpin river flows through it. Well, right now it's Rasputitsa, the season of mud and rain and wetness in Ukraine. And Irpin river, as you can see in this photo, is overflowing, making it basically swamplands all near it. This is the area that the armor is supposed to penetrate through, a swampland. So this river is doing more for Ukrainian defense than any Bayraktar drone could. Russian tanks stuck in the mud and then deserted. And you can see it on the battlefield. Russian lines have been stopped all over across that river from north to south. They have not been able to cross it anywhere. Russian losses are huge near Kiev. They're not able to take the city and not even able to attack it anymore because of logistical issues. They have decided to dig in. You can see from these satellite photos that Russians are digging in their infantry positions and also their infantry fighting vehicles and even tanks. That makes it harder for them to be destroyed with anti-tank weapons, but they're still vulnerable for artillery and drone attacks. Unfortunately, if Russians dig in, then these positions are very hard to counterattack. This is bravery. A week ago we saw a Russian battalion tactical group try to take that city in order to surround Kiev. Brovary is east from Kiev. It is the holdout before Kiev. And even now they're beaten back. From northeast of Kiev is Chernihiv. The city is almost fully blockaded now. Russians have not been able to take it. Let me remind you, it was supposed to be taken in the very first day of war. From a bit southeast from Chernihiv is Sumy. The same thing, Russians were supposed to take this city according to their own battle plans in the very first day, but still they're not able to take this city and they have almost fully blockaded it. Only a few roads remain free. But this city is fighting back strong. We have a lot of Ukrainian activity behind enemy lines. Russians cannot feel safe because even farmers have guns now. And if they don't have guns, they have tractors. We have seen the videos of them using their old Soviet tractors to tow away Russian infantry fighting vehicles and even tanks, to later sell them on eBay. These were the latest updates of the Ukrainian war. I'll keep you posted, my friends. Thank you for watching these videos. And until my next video, Slava Ukraini.